Hello, and welcome to Divinely Speaking Unplugged. This is your host, Divine Sunshine, and also welcome to Divine Unisoul's 11th channel. I am doing a simulcast of both podcasts. I'm going to use this for my podcast as well. I have some channel messages that I want to bring to you this week. And watching videos that I see that are confirming a lot of things that Spirit has brought to me about what's occurring this week in the current energies. This current energies is talking about resolutions. We know that anytime that we have a retrograde, the retrograde is mainly talking about revisiting of a lot of things, redoing. And I remember seeing something on Les Brown talking about a summit that he was having there, talking about prosperity and saying that, talking to the gentleman, you know, how they had those YouTube commercials, and the YouTube commercial was talking about, infomercial rather, talking about the program or the free webinar that they were going to have. And he was saying to the gentleman how with what's going on with COVID, how we have to relearn how to relearn and redo things. And we can't keep on using the same measure or strategies that we had used before in order for us to achieve and strive and go in a different direction that we're going now. Due to COVID, we know we have this new normal that we're living. Well, with the energies is pretty much doing the same thing. Understanding that as we are getting ready to go to new dimensions and new levels, that with these energies of the full moon that we just had that was in Pisces, helping us to understand how we need to watch the state in which it might be very dreamlike, because Pisces is very dreamlike state as well, but they're really good visualizers. They're also going with the flow. However, they're very can tune into things, very astute, let's put it that way. That's a better word to say, of tuning into things that like are going to work, they're not going to work. And also us being in this energy of the season of Virgo, which is practicality, is really getting heightened, like, hey, this is not working. This needs to be thrown away. This I'm going to keep. Wait a second, am I throwing the baby out with the bath water? Is this something really have I worn this almost like, or have I used this strategy here lately, just like clothing in a closet where you're looking at it and say, have I worn it in the last 6 months? Was it wearable? What I'm using as far as tools, or what things which I'm using now to help me survive or to gain success where I am now? Is this something that's actually helping me, or is this something hindering me? Do I need to throw it out? Do I need to stop wearing this identity? Do I need to stop saying these things? Do I need to stop using these phrases or belief systems because they no longer fit? This is something in which we are finding ourselves going back to revisit, because again, these things, in order for where we're going, we're finding out that that's almost insanity that we're practicing, and that means to do the same things over again and expect it to have different results. When we're talking about looking at our counterparts here too as well, we are finding that in looking, I know even from my things, that there's a seeing of, hey, what's my part? You know, it's no more pointing fingers at them and not forgetting that we got 3 pointing back at us. That we're really truly taking the thing of saying, you know, some of us might say, I want to redo, like we used to be in playing games when we're smaller. And we say we want to redo. We want to do it over again, because we're seeing now our part, and now in retrospect and seeing how we need to kind of really change things and really truly getting that resolution or that resolve about some things. Remember, again, it's everything about the really also seeing our part, seeing that again in looking at partnerships, since this is also we're moving into the Libra season too as well. Looking at, and I think there's something that's in Libra going on, but anyway, as far as looking at us, I think the new moon is what is in Libra this we're moving into. So looking at that aspect, or that we are, it's about partnerships too as well. And we might even find ourselves, and I know even I went to a party here this weekend, and I felt like a fish out of water, literally, in the Pisces season with the full moon. And I was like, I'm not going with the flow. I was seeing that even with hanging out with them, with friends that were in high school, trying to, again, it was a sensory of different kind of like energies. And seeing that, you know what, some of this stuff that how I was trying to fit in, trying to be with the cool kids or being a part of that, I just found myself, just really confirming with myself that, hey, you know what, it's okay for you to be your awkward or weird self like you were before. You were hiding that from back then, and we're not in that state anymore. We're finding ourselves like revisiting even relationships with people and seeing either we have outgrown it or we no longer resonate with that energy, or we might even find out people really showing their true colors like I kind of did then. And I was like, you know what, I kind of don't like hanging out with this person anymore. Or I need to kind of really see, why is it that I don't like hanging out with this person anymore? Is this truly something they're bringing to the table, or is that literally something I'm bringing to the table? And so there is also a revisiting of partnerships too, as far as how we're relating, connected to others. Not only just for with our twin and saying, well, you know what, I want a second chance. I think things really wasn't that bad. Or again, looking at friendships and saying, you know what, back then you were good for this, but now that I'm really looking with you from a fresh pair of eyes, a new perspective or a re-perspective, adding re to that, to things, and saying, no, I don't like you so much, and seeing that, okay, that's how I was then, this is how I am now, and seeing some kind of way of kind of removing self from the dynamic. I know I was listening to a video and she was saying that she doesn't cut off relationships. She just kind of keeps it moving and let it kind of flow. Like, okay, if we're not vibing anymore, then just know that, hey, we're just not vibing. I don't need to cut off. In some ways, that is true, because just like planets, some kind of way, they'll find themselves kind of unorbiting themselves out of. There has been relationships that I was like, okay, spirit has kind of reled me to say, okay, well, maybe you might want to revisit that again. But then again, spirit has a way to have the same things. I have this certain thing about this particular person, and every time when I try to get in touch with that person or get back into the orbit with that, my alarms go off in my house. So I was like, okay, I think that is it. So do not touch that. That's a danger, Will Robinson. Don't go back there. So that is one thing which I said I got to get on here and talk about and tell you all, because I see that some of these relationships are really getting under the fine too. Notice also different, especially with these energies, a lot of agitation, a lot of anger. People, all this stuff is just really being brought up to the surface. Again, the universe and the energies that we are with these retrogrades and with the Pisces full moon and whatever that's going on, the aspect in Libra and all these things like that, and moving in to the Scorpio energies and two as well. That's all playing a part, which is again, and I don't know what planet is. I don't claim to say and know that thing too, but understanding that things are getting agitated, just like I'll say that theory about apple cider. Things are getting pushed and shaken up because we want to make sure that we're bringing up all that stuff that's been settled down at the bottom to come up and come out of our energy fields, because again, we need to pack light. We need to get ready for the next place at which we're going to. So a lot of times of that getting rid of, if you're in those kind of dynamics or situations of again, third party or either karmic situations, you will find yourself again, those things are no longer this an extra irritation, because now it's just no longer again resonating with your energy where you are or your space. Spirit is now, and the universe is really shaking you up to say, get rid of this. This is not creating you to be that pure apple cider. Some things the sediments is needed because it helps you to grow spiritually, but there's some things in it which it again is kind of keeping it. That's showing me it needs to be filtrated. It's not being very pure. It's not making you the best quality of the person that you can be or truly being divine. They told me this morning also about how again being in the flow with your divine person. Now, we talked about that even on the playground experience, and I want to go back and revisit about watching us using the terminology that I cut them off. I let my other person deal with that stuff. I retracted, I pulled back my energy, those things. And Spirit had brought that to me again, and it was really screaming, and especially when we was on the playground about that, said, no, stop saying you're going to do that. How can you cut off energy to yourself? You can't do that because, again, it's still in the flow. This other person, we have to remember, is us. Even when they're going through those things, and even this morning, I had to kind of bring that to my person. I could tell they were extremely nervous about something. I was feeling on my end. I've been feeling really kind of manic in my energies. And I'm like, where's this coming from? Is this from the collective? I know some fear factors. Is this coming from my person? And then I had to find out a way of saying, you know what? I did find myself kind of doing. I said, okay, well, I'll push it back. If this is your energy, let your energy stay on your end. If it's mine, it's mine. I deal with it. And then I was like, stop. What does it mean to have infinity flow? Why you keep on using that? Why you got a tattoo of it? That means in some ways, and they showed me like with my dad when he was passing, he had a transfusion for his kidneys and how they take the blood from the machine and the blood goes in there and purifies it and it flows back into the body and then it goes out into the machine and back and forth. And I could see my dad when he was getting that kidney dialysis and doing that, and it was saying this is what's going on between you and your person. You're really, one of them is filtrating the energies and making it pure and throwing it back and kicking it on your side so you can be able to deal with that. When you're talking about, no, that's your energy, my energy, you stay over there, I was like, you know what, let's find a way. I don't know why I kept on bringing it to me like Twix bar. Let's find a way, if we're working together and we come as a pair, let's find a way that we can be able to balance this energy out, that okay, I deal with it, and filtrate it on my end, because I'm sure that even when times we don't even know, our partner is doing the same thing. They're filtrating some energies for us and they're kicking it back on our side and going back forth. I say, let's work in tandem. Let's work together instead of being like, that's why I don't like the word your counterpart. Work against each other. Speaking of that, they brought to me also about this counterbalance when you're working with your karmic. Your karmic is working that energy to go against, and it's showing me how it's like you're pouring from one to another. I think it's almost like tempering again. Understanding that's what it is helping to balance you when you're in those karmic situations or you're dealing with that. But they told me the word is counterbalancing you. And so you can be able to deal with and be, they gave me the other word that was for that. You counterbalance so you can recalibrate yourself as well. And so that's why you're in those situations, because it's a counterbalance that's going on with that, and that and it brings in resistance. That's the word that they're saying, back on the resistance. So in that counterbalancing, there's resistance there, and through that resistance there is growth, and through that growth there you have also that spiritual, where you are talking about that awakening, you find yourself leveling up. So this is why, again, when they're in those karmic situations, and knowing that we do need to have separation. Separation is okay. Thank you. Separation is needed, because sometimes, again, while we're in there and we're trying to do that, we don't need to be crash test dummies for each other. Sometimes when we're doing that counterbalancing, that's almost like a car. You do that timing the belt, and you do that to make sure you get back on time and get on where you need to be. Everything's even. this an even flow. This is why that happens. So, again, when they're in the situations, or we're in those situations, and they're not contacting us that much, or we're doing separation and we're not there together, there is a reason, because in that resistance that they're having against doing that, there is a push for growth, and there's a temperance in that situation. So I might revisit that again, but I think that's about it. My time is up. I got to go as well. But again, if you need any services from me, go to divineunisource11.co. If you need to get a past life regression session, go to AshantiWellnessCenter.com as well. Anything that you need, look at the description box below. And as always, thank you for listening. Go out there and shine. As always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascending. Namaste and Namago.